school spotlight videos that we are doing for families. We are here today with SA Prep. My name is Jessica Post. I am our school services manager with Families Empowered. And I will let our great folks join us today. Or introduce themselves. We have Ms. Stephanie Hall-Powell with SA Prep and also one of her great parents with us today. So I'll let you guys say a little bit about yourself before we get started.
Good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Hall-Powell. I am the CEO and superintendent for San Antonio Prep. We are a brand new charter school, 5th through 12th grade, and we are launching this fall, August 3rd, 2020, with 5th, 6th, and 7th grade. And then we have Miss Larita, which is one of our registered parents, who will introduce herself.
Good morning. I'm Larita Gatlin McDavid, and we received a phone call one day from Families Empowered and decided to look into this school, and it's been a perfect experience from the very beginning.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here today. So the focus of this Facebook Live is really just to get to know your school and help those parents who may not be able to come out and meet you in person or have a phone call with you to learn more, because you guys are opening this fall. So Ms. Stephanie, if you will, just give us an overview of your school. I know that you already mentioned the grades that you serve, but where you're going to be, what your plans are, that would be a great way to get us started.
Yeah, San Antonio Prep is located at 6127 Summerfest Drive, and that is off of Foster and Summerfest Drive on the northeast side of San Antonio. So if you know where the Walmart is on Foster Road, we are right across the street, literally walking distance. And so San Antonio Prep was designed for brown and black students in the northeast and east side communities of San Antonio. We really wanted to provide a high quality education because we believed our students deserved it. And so what we do is we provide 2 teachers in every classroom, every middle school classroom, which is unique because most middle schools do not have 2 teachers. Unless it's a different type of classroom. The additional things that we focus on and that we really, really care about is our trauma-informed care training that our teachers and staff get. And so that's all of our staff, not just our teachers. And then also the restorative practices that happens on our campus, where our students are not immediately disciplined or suspended or expelled from school, but there is a path that we take to make sure that we restore the child in healing and restoration, as opposed to just kicking them out of school. The other pieces that are really important to us are our core values, what we founded the school on and what we build upon and how we make decisions on our campus. And that is love, equity, identity, culture, connections, and community. And so this is really important as a community school, that we are providing resources to our community, but we are also sourcing from our community to be able to put money back into our community.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Ms. Larita, can you explain a little bit about why you as a parent are choosing to go to SA Prep this fall and send your student there?
Sure. I'd be glad to share that with you. The first and foremost attraction, once I started speaking with Tajay and Dr. Hall-Powell, is that they were going to be intentional with their learning for African American students. We've seen that start out in other schools, but not followed through, and never such a direct plan of action that they have been able to come up with.
So one of the pieces that Ms. Larita is talking about is our culturally relevant curriculum. And what we've done is we have found a curriculum that we can use that has some data to support that it works for students. And what we've did is we've injected, or we have embedded, culturally relevant African American studies and Chicano studies into our curriculum, so that our students can see themselves within the curriculum, that they learn about their history, they read books that have them or that have reflections of them in these books, and that we're also talking about how education now needs to look different or be designed just for them.
Awesome. That is so interesting. And I know that a lot of families have talked about that and something that they want to see in a school, even students too. So can you explain a little bit about what a typical day is going to look like for a student at your school? I know that a typical day right now is very different than we're used to because of homeschool and the pandemic that's going on. So in perfect world that we all go back to school in the fall, can you share a little bit about what you intend for that day to look like for them?
Yeah, so in a perfect world, we do have to name that because due to COVID, our day could look very, very drastically different based on what the mayor or governor put out before school starts. So in a perfect world, if we go back to school and everyone's able to join us on campus, our students have a 7:30 to 4:30 day. They come in and they have a cafe time in the morning if it's before school starts. Then they transition to their classes. So our middle schoolers do not leave their classroom. They have two core content teachers that they stay with all day. So they have an AM session, and in the AM session, it could be ELA session or it could be a math session. And in the ELA session, they have what we call literature, which is a novel-based curriculum, and then they have composition, which is writing, and every grade level has writing. Then they also have guided reading and close reading, and these are strategies to help students to be able to really be focused and higher level readers. And these two classes also support our struggling readers, and they support our readers who are really, really good in reading. And so we differentiate for the different levels of students. And then in our math sessions, we have a cumulative review session in which students are really focusing on previous year skills that they may be lacking in. Then they have their regular math class, and then they have a problem solving session in which they are doing higher order and higher level math to be able to kind of get a glimpse into what they need, the skills that they need to be able to move up in math. In addition to that, our students have 75 minutes of fine arts, and then they also have 50 to 60 minutes of PE every single day outside of Mondays. So most charter schools have a half day Wednesday or half day Friday. Our half day is on Monday, but it's not a day in which our students leave the campus and they go home. It's a modified day for us where there's half day instruction, and then the remainder of the day they go to enrichment classes so that the students can stay at school the full remainder of the 7:30 to 4:30 day. So parents just stick to their regular schedule, but kids have this now 3-hour enrichment time where teachers go to professional development.
And who's going to lead that enrichment time? What kind of things will be offered there?
We're trying to do classes that mirror their after school enrichment. So like right now we're trying to partner with either the Boys and Girls Club or the YMCA or other smaller nonprofits that come in and do after school activities to get them to come on Mondays for those 3 hours and either take over the whole Monday or they swap out with multiple different nonprofits. That's what we're working on right now. And so kids could take things like photography, culinary and cooking, sewing, they could do a sport if they wanted to. It very much mirror what they do after school. And our after school programming is also free. And it would be some of the same programs that they would go into after school.
Wonderful. So it looks like we've got a question on the comments, and I forgot to say this at the beginning, but with our parents that are listening right now, if you just say hello or put a question in, you're actually going to be entered in to win a $25 HEB gift card. So even if you're just on and just want to wave hello or say hi, you'll be entered to win, but we'd love to have your questions as well. So Miss Gray actually wrote here, wondering about uniforms. So will there be uniforms, and what are they going to look like? What are the requirements there?
Yes, I love that question. So no, we do not have uniforms. We call it an apparel line. So our students get an option between 3 to 5 shirts that have been specifically designed for essay prep. And they're more like t-shirts than they are they are like t-shirts. They're not the polo shirts. And so students will be required to wear those, but they are free. These are something that our students get to pick once they get to campus. And then we just require them to wear black or gray bottoms, any sock and any shoe.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. Feel free to bring in those questions, guys. We can always stop and answer those, but I've got some more that I'm going to ask you here, Stephanie. So one big thing, and Miss Loretta, you probably have seen this too, is that we have distance learning right now. There is a lot of virtual stuff going on just because we can't be in classrooms. So Stephanie, in the event that we have to go back to this in the fall, what is that going to look like for you guys, or what do you anticipate that being for your team and for your students?
So that's one of the contingency plans that we're working on, either a hybrid or a full online program based on, governor or mayor recommendations. And what that would look like is that all of our students, even prior to that order, all of our students have a one-to-one technology. And what that means is that those students get to take the technology home to be able to use for the online learning platforms. We will have our online learning platform picked by the end of this month because we're vetting a few. We're not just going to go with Google Classroom because that's the one that everyone else is using. We're going to find the best one that suits us as a school, the curriculum that we've chosen, and then also our families and what our families can access and use. And then once we have that identified, our teachers will get training on it. We'll have the tech support in place for both families and for staff and teachers. And then we'll roll that out at the end of July for families and do some training to make sure that families are good to go on what this looks like. And we'll roll it out in August for our first week of school.
Okay, great to know. That's one of the most popular questions that we get right now. We've got another question that just came through, Miss Allison. Do you guys offer transportation? What's that going to look like next year?
We do offer transportation. So we are working actually this week and last week, we've been in a ton of meetings to figure out what our transportation looks like. We initially thought we were going to go with a company called Zoom, but now we're looking into a couple of other companies, and Via is also one of those partners that we've already established that Via is one of our vehicles, which we're going to use for transportation, which means that we're going to provide free bus passes to our students for the entire school year. And then if we have a large percentage of our students that ride the Via bus, we will put staff on the bus to ride the routes with the students to and from school. And then we're still sourcing for the second transportation option, as we thought we were going to go with one, and we're now not going with them.
Okay, great to know. That's a really innovative way that you guys are doing that. Miss Loida, I'm going to switch over to you, and I'm going to ask you a quick question about just your experience in applying to the school and finding out that you guys were going this year, if there was a lottery or anything like that. And then I'll let Miss Stephanie share a little bit more on how future families can apply and what grades are still available.
Okay. Thank you for that question. So the first thing I need to say is we heard about SA Prep through Families Empowered. I received a call, and I get these calls quite, I guess, maybe once a month or so. But this is the first one that actually caught my attention. The young lady that I spoke with was let me know that she was going to get back with me because she wasn't able to answer those questions. And the next time I received any communication was from Tajay directly from the school. So I appreciated that the person that was reaching out to me could answer all the questions, and he did a fabulous job. He took the hard questions. I was not, and the things that I was saying to him was like, I'm not excited about that because of this. And he immediately was able to let me know, almost like she did a few minutes ago when you asked her the question about, the school being ready for distance learning. Like they already had that in plan. So the questions that I was asking him, he was immediately able to answer. So I already felt confidence, that this was going to be a good call. The thing that I did like is they weren't very far from me. They're actually within like transportation distance. That's one of the things I did not like about where she is now, is that even though they were able to provide transportation on the days that we did not make it to the bus on time, it was a 30-minute commute either way. So they don't put a lot east or northeast. And so I was glad to see that this particular school was exactly where we needed to be, which was east and northeast. So that was awesome. one of the things that I really liked. The second was the fact that they have a plan for every year. We've been in a school that just started, and every year like that, she was going to be the first student in that grade. And so I wasn't excited about that. But the fact that they have mapped out that transition, the fact that they're bringing in teachers from all over the nation was like another reason that I know that they are doing absolutely everything to do to make sure that this is intentional.
That's awesome. So Stephanie, can you share a little bit about how other families can apply? It sounds like obviously Ms. Lourdes is real excited, and I'm sure other families are too. So how can they get involved? Like, how can they apply, and what are the steps there?
So there's two ways. One is via phone. So they can call the 210-473-2698, which is also on our website that I'm going to give right now, or www.saprep.org. They can go there and click on apply. It's a Google form. It's really simple. The information comes directly to us, and then we call you the same day. Or if they call the number, then our staff will just put their information in right over the phone.
Gotcha. So do you have spots available for all grades? Like, what specific grade levels do you have for next fall?
So this coming fall, we have 5th, 6th, and 7th grade. Right now, we still have spots in 5th and 7th. We only have a few left in 6th.
Okay. So going in from, say a student that's doing distance learning right now and going into your school in the fall, we've heard from a lot of people that distance learning it's tough.
Yeah.
They feel like a lot of families or a lot of families feel like their students are falling behind. How do you anticipate helping those families in the fall if they came from a school that the distance learning wasn't so great these last couple of weeks and the
Mhm.
last month or two essentially? What's that going to look like?
So the beauty of San Antonio Prep is that we anticipate students at every level, hence the reason why in our mission we say in a challenging and supportive learning environment. The biggest thing to us is support, and it doesn't matter if the support is for struggling students, if the support is for students who are okay, or if the support is for students who have it all together, so to speak. We are providing that level of support to every level of student, no matter what they're coming in at. And so we're prepared for that. We're prepared for students to come in and take baseline tests at the beginning of the year to kind of give us a gauge of where they're at so that we can support them the best way possible. The 2 teachers in every classroom helps with that because it allows us to be able to have one teacher that's teaching, but a support teacher that's there with that teacher at all times. And so being able to provide that smaller group level of support in a classroom is something that we already anticipated with our community and with our families and with our students. And so even with students being out of school, as long as they've been out of school, our school was designed to be this support for students coming in. So we're not concerned about students being out of school an extended amount of time.
Gotcha. Great answer. I know that's helpful for a lot of families. We've got another one that just came through on our chat for our comments. What about your programs for special education or for students with disabilities? What's that going to look like?
Yes, so we've partnered with AIM LLC, and they are a nonprofit organization here in the city of San Antonio, and they go into schools or they partner with schools and they provide special education services. And so what they will be doing on our campus is for year 1, they are providing 100% of our special education services with support from the school. And then what they're doing is they're also teaching and training our staff to be able to take over our own special education program moving into the following years. And so these people, this organization, I won't say these people, this organization, Bia Follis and Zachary, who is the CEO, are people who are well versed in special education and ESL services across the city. They already work and operate in other schools. And so all they're going to do is come onto our campus, making sure that we're providing the highest level of support to all of our students and families. They're going to do all of the ARDs the first 30 days of school. They're making sure that students are getting those transfer ARDs into our campus. They're already having communications and conversations with families, even right now, with students who are coming into our campus and have already registered. And I just had a conversation with Bia this past Tuesday, what's today, Wednesday? On Monday, actually. And we were talking about how we may have to provide some additional supports to families as they come in, especially with students being out of school for so long. So we're already strategizing on what that kind of level of support is going to look like for those kids.
For families that currently, like if they're going to enroll in your school, if their student currently has an IEP or they have any documentation or paperwork with their school, is it the student or is it the parent's responsibility to get all that to you guys, or do you guys handle that? I know with school out, it's hard to get anyone on like the office line to get those files transferred. I know that's always a common question with parents.
Mhm. Yeah, so we can ask for the transfer of the paperwork, but with school being out, we don't know what that's going to look like as far as how long it's going to take us to get the paperwork. If the parents can get it faster, we would ultimately appreciate that. But we also recognize parents are running into the same problems we are. No one's on campus, and so no one's able to get the paperwork that you need to be able to transfer it. But we can transfer internally, but it is like we are waiting just for the simple fact that we're all out of school.
Okay, gotcha.
Mhm.
So one of the things that I'd love to talk about next is just your parent engagement plans. Obviously, you have a great parent already who is pumped and ready to go with Miss Loretta. But what do you envision like the parent and the parent and school relationship to look like next year? Whether that be events or obviously like in-person meetings. But what is that and what is that vision for you guys?
Yeah. So we wrote in our charter application that we will have monthly classes for our parents. And so we call them parent preps for San Antonio Prep. There are parent prep academies and classes on once a month on a weekend. That's on a Saturday. It'll either be Saturday morning or Saturday evening for a couple of hours where we have, we'll have certain planned out sessions for our families. But in addition to that, our parent prep team or club is a group of parents who will run that academy. And so they'll be in charge of making sure that they plan fundraisers and different community events, that they're involved in every aspect of the school as far as like how we're providing education to our students, how we're communicating with families. They'll really help us to keep an ear to the ground to make sure that we're really involving our parents in every level of what we're doing, because we are a community school and we do not want to leave them out. And so for us, our parents have a lot of involvement in our school. We want to try to make sure that all of our parents have background checks so that they can come on campus to volunteer or to support the parent prep club in any way possible. A lot of our parent prep programs will focus on the community aspect of what we do. We'll be putting on a lot of community programs or offer resources or some type of event in our community. And our parent prep club will have the biggest hand in helping us to run it, and also being the people and the volunteers inside of each event.
Awesome. Miss Loretta, what are you most excited with the parent engagement at this school compared to your previous experiences?
Well, two things. One, if it's anything like what I've received the last couple of weeks since the beginning of the conversations, it's going to be great. You hear from different people, which is important to me. I like to make sure that I'm getting the information like full circle. And sometimes that comes from different engagement with different staff members. So that's what I'm looking for in parent engagement, like to be able, if we're talking about fine arts, then I need to be hearing from the fine arts instructor. If we're talking about doing booster club, then I need to be talking to the coach and the people involved with that. So that's the kind of things that I was listening for. They have Zoom calls, 2 or 3 times a week with different staff members. That's the kind of thing I'm looking for in parent engagement. Like this last week, I've been invited to 3 and it's just Wednesday. So, so that's the type of parent engagement that I'm looking for. Like, I need you to know who I am and who my child is.
That's awesome.
And the 2 weeks, I don't know if she mentioned, I'm sure she did, but the 2 weeks of school where they're just getting to know each other, you don't get that anywhere else. I've never even heard of that. So
that's awesome. So Stephanie, one of the things that we get a lot too is wondering just if you've got a middle school. So what's the plan for students in high school? Will this school continue to grow into high school for them to stay with you guys up until they graduate? Or will you guys just have a really great, like placement program to help them with high school options? What's the plan there?
So we cannot have a middle school and not be a place where we can also be transitioned for them into high school. So we are a middle high school program. We'll actually roll into high school in our year 2 with 9th grade, 8th and 9th grade at the same time in our year 2. But no, so our high school program is a dual credit program, which we're working on this year. You have to do like a year before you actually launch. We're working on that right now. And so partnerships with the local community colleges to be able to do dual credit. The other thing is necessary is that we are hiring mostly master degree teachers in their content for our high school programming as well, so that we can ensure that students are getting master level content, but that also our teachers on our campus can offer the dual credit classes as opposed to students going off campus for those classes. So we'll have both options depending on the number of people that we hire. And so our students will be able to, at a minimum, graduate with some college credits. And then at a maximum, they'll also graduate with their associate's degree and their high school diploma. And so we plan to follow our kids all the way through when they graduate.
That's wonderful. That is just so impressive and something that's really exciting for a lot of families. We did have one question that came through. This was kind of on the back conversation we just talked about with you, Ms. Loretta. How can other families get involved on these Zoom calls? We've got parents that are, interested in having these same experiences.
Yeah, so we can repost. We put made a little flyer that we put on our Facebook and our website. The flyer is still on the website, and I think on social media it might be way down in the feed. So we'll repost it. It's the Zoom link that you can hop onto, and we do Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. every single week. And every Tuesday and Thursday is a different theme. So like Miss Larita got an opportunity to be on the Zoom with our athletic coordinator who talked about Booster Club and sports and all the different things we're doing with sports. Yesterday on our teacher chat, we played bingo, and then we had some families and teachers win a $10 Walmart gift card for bingo yesterday. So we did a family game night yesterday. And then we've also had different organizations on. So AIM was on, our special education organization. And then we've had Impact Counseling, who's going to be on our campus doing counseling, professional counseling. So he got on. And then we've also had San Antonio Sound Garden, who's doing one aspect of our fine arts on our campus. And he's been on our teacher chats. So we try to have different aspects of the school on the teacher chats. And then we're also trying to do a little bit of fun, hence the family game night.
That's awesome. And so is this for families that are already accepted and attending your school, or is this for anyone that's interested?
Anyone who's interested.
That's so cool.
Yeah, because you can learn a lot about the school on the teacher chat. So we'll repost that because I don't know the Zoom link offhand. So we'll just make sure we put it back up to the top of the feed on Facebook.
Okay, awesome. So right now we are still obviously in this point of social distancing. Some people are still like hunkered down at home, which we totally understand. How can they, beyond that Zoom call or beyond, this Facebook Live, like how can they get to know you guys more? I know, Stephanie, you guys were out in the community all the time at different stuff to meet families face to face. But since that's changed a little bit, like what are some steps that families can learn more or get their specific questions asked?
If they send an email to connect@saprep.org, we have a San Antonio Prep FAQ that we can email to them. They can also get a lot of information from our website. We did have it updated probably about 3 months ago. And so we've tried to put some more information onto the website. And then I do SA Prep Stay Informed live Facebook updates every single evening between 5 and 8. And so you can get information on there. And then we do try to post some updates about the school and who we are on our Facebook page and on some of the other social media platforms. But that's some of the ways that you can get to know who we are.
Okay, wonderful. And so are any of those resources in Spanish, or do you have staff that are bilingual as well?
Yes, we do. Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. That is great to know. Wonderful. So the next thing I'd love to hear from you, Stephanie, is just like, what are some just like really unique things about your school that you want people to know? Like if they have, a few seconds or minutes to listen to this call, what do you want them to walk away with and just know about your school?
I think I really want them to understand the impact of our two-teacher model and then our focus on trauma-informed and restorative practices and how monumental that is in the life and the academic achievement of Brown and Black students. And so trauma-informed care and restorative practices is really a focus on healing and restoration of a child as a human being, as a person. And so that's really important because we can't be so focused on making sure that my child can add 2 + 2 or multiply 10 × 10 without making sure that his physiological needs are met first. Because a lot of times children are not, and especially children in a low-income minority community or just in communities without a lot of resources, we forget to acknowledge the fact that children come with trauma. And so until we address the things that are important to the family and the child, we can never really get a child to a place where they can learn and achieve at a high level. And so what we're doing at San Antonio Prep is focusing on that first. So Ms. Larita brought up the first 2 weeks of school a little bit ago in our conversation. And what that looks like is the very first 2 weeks of school on our campus, there's no academic instruction. Because what we are doing is we are spending that time to build really strong relationships with our students, but also with their parents. And during these 2 weeks, we're talking about culture, we're talking about restorative practices, we're talking about us as a community and how do we restore and what happens when we cause harm in our community and how do we bring people back into the community and deal with the things that are causing people trauma and harm. How do we make sure that we're providing you with food, shelter, counseling, all of the things that you need to be able to learn at a high level. Once we have that foundation built, then we can go into now they have tools and strategies. The staff and the students and the parents have these strategies and these tools to now cope with these things that are really hard in life. Because if you are not a little Black boy, you don't know what it's like to be a little Black boy in America or in certain communities. But these are the things that we are helping our children to identify, to deal with, to have strategies to cope with, and to be their best selves. And so a lot of times we hear maybe diversity training or diversity and inclusion, and we're not doing a diversity and inclusion. We are doing, you are a human being, you are a person, you just happen to be a person who was born Black or white or Hispanic. And now, what does that mean for you as a champion? Because all of our kids are champions. And then how do we help you navigate the world that you live in? And then now, how do we help you academically? And so then the two teacher model plays into the trauma-informed care and restorative practices by providing that additional level of support for the staff member and also for the student and for the parent. So now the parent doesn't have 6 or 7 teachers they're trying to call to make sure that they get a progress update for their child. And then now the student doesn't have to worry about, now I have to try to please or do work for 7 or 8 different teachers. I have these 2 teachers that I know look like me, love me, care about me. And not only are they just trying to educate me, but they're really trying to make sure that I'm a great human being as well.
That's powerful. Real quick clarifying question. For the 2 teacher model, are they 2 certified teachers, or is it 1 teacher, like a lead teacher and a co-teacher?
No, 2 certified teachers, and 1 teaches math and science and the other teaches ELA and social studies.
That's awesome.
But they support each other in the classroom. So when the ELA social studies teacher is teaching, the math science teacher is there as a support.
Okay, awesome. Ms. Loida, I'd love to turn to you and hear a little bit from your students. How are they feeling about going into a brand new school and as such a unique school like this next year? How are they excited? Like, tell us a little more about what their thoughts are.
I'm actually really happy. I wasn't very happy when I heard that it was a new school, but I am happy hearing all the things for the supports for the children, because I remember I had one of my best friends. She literally only speaks Spanish. She barely knew English, and she was failing most of her classes because the classes were in English. And like, we all felt so bad because she was my friend, and someone either had to translate, but then it wouldn't make sense for them to translate because they'd be caught as cheating because she really didn't understand anything.
So Hailey knew I was going to be on this call today. I did not invite her in here, but she knew I was going to be on this call. So that shows, I think, a level of excitement for her. We're really excited because, and it's, it goes back to what she was saying a few minutes ago about trauma-informed care. Part of that, and I became like so vested, like so quickly when they first start talking about that, because part of communicating and getting better is knowing you've been traumatized. That doesn't happen in our communities. It's just that's just part of life. That's just how it goes. Like, it's happened to me. It's happened to another family member. It's happened for generations. That's the way it is. No, it's not. So the fact that SA Prep was able to identify that and make that part of the curriculum, I mean, it just shows you the level of intent. And I keep going back to intentional because it shows the level of training and time and blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into SA Prep. So, like, I don't even know if that's what your question was, but I know I need to say
No, that's great. It answers it perfectly.
Yeah, but she is excited. She's even been on the Friends. It's different because she changed schools last year, and she wasn't, like she said, she's not excited about changing schools, going into a new school. But when she's been talking to her friends about the things she's finding out about SA Prep, it's like, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Ms. Loida, what would you say to a parent who's like nervous to go to a school that's brand new? I think that sometimes that is parents want to go somewhere where they know for sure this is happening or that's happening because it's been around for a couple of years. What would you say to a parent who really has that hesitation about a new school?
That's a good question because we've never been afraid to pursue the best education available for our child, right? So you got to step out on faith, and the genuineness that you're going to feel from that very first phone call will let you know if you're in the right space or not.
Gotcha. And I'm sure, Stephanie, you all are able to hop on a phone call and those Zoom calls to really talk with parents about any hesitations they may have.
Correct. Yeah.
We've got another question that just came through. Mina would like to know, is there anything students can do over their summer to get ready for school with San Antonio Prep next year?
Ooh, good question. We're thinking through some summer things that we want to do. I know some other schools kind of already have planned out what they want to do, but we want to be intentional, as Miss Larita keeps saying. And so one of the things we're doing right now is we're getting ready to push out a family survey. And so that will kind of help us to judge if this summer program is something that parents are willing and ready to do, especially if it's still online learning. Because I think at this point, parents are pretty much over online learning and they don't want to do it anymore. And so just based on our parent feedback, that will kind of help us decide whether or not we will do something during the summer, or parents just say, can you just give us a break and let us start over in August, and then we'll do just that.
Awesome. So thinking through, like in the fall, what is your specific start date for school? And are you guys going to have any differences of, like, are you going to follow similar to SAISD or like with their calendar, or what does that look like for you all?
We start August 3rd, and our calendar is similar to Judson ISD. We don't start on the same day of school. We start before Judson. But as far as days off, because we're located within Judson ISD, and we knew that we would have siblings within the attendance boundary, we made sure that we mirrored their academic calendar as much as possible.
Okay, that's great. And just one more time, this is something that's come up on a lot of the Facebook Lives. What are the specific hours again? Can you shout that out?
Our school day is 7:30 to 4:30, and then our staff and our office staff will be there, I think an hour before and an hour after, or an hour before and only a little bit after at the end of the day.
Okay, and that includes like the after school programs that are there, or is that extended?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Our after school program will run till 6.
Awesome. Okay, that's great. And you said after school program is free, correct?
It is free. Everything on our campus. Also, here's some other unique aspects of our school is everything on our campus is free. So our technology for our students to be able to take home, they do have to sign it out and bring it back at the end of the year if they're going to use it all year long. But our apparel is free. All the meals for our students are free, and that's breakfast, lunch, and a dinner meal, or what we call supper meal. The after school program is free. Sports are free. Everything on our campus is free, and even the transportation, when we use VIA, and in our second mode of transportation, will all be free for our families.
Wonderful. That's awesome. Great. So it looks like we have gone through the questions that we have here. Oh, wait, actually, sorry, I missed one. After you register, is there a time period where their families are going to know they're accepted, or does filling out that initial Google form mean that you're officially accepted? So you can explain a little bit about what the difference is between like that Google form and then actual registration and enrollment.
Yeah, so when you first fill out the Google form, that lets us know that you're interested in one of the spots, depending on what grade level your child is in. Our staff will call you either that day or the very next day to get more information to verify your information and verify that you are very much interested in the spot that we have available. And if you say yes, then that spot is yours. You just need to turn in your registration paperwork in order for you to keep the spot, if that makes sense.
Okay, and that registration paperwork, can that be submitted all virtually, or is it a drop-off? How does that work?
Yeah, so we are doing virtually right now on our parent portal, which is also on our website. And our team, because parent portal can be kind of tricky, will walk our families through how to submit on the parent portal. There's instructions on our website, but they have no problem walking you through, just because it is a little bit of a challenge if you're not tech savvy. So they'll walk you through on that. We are also accepting our registration paperwork via email right now, and then we'll verify it later once school starts. But that's just to give families an opportunity to keep their slots when they fill out the registration paperwork.
Okay, gotcha. And Ms. Lloyda, have you gone through the entire registration process on a scale of like 1 to 10? Can you tell us how simple, easy it was?
Sure. I can tell you, it wasn't very difficult, and it's also I also want to let you know that at any time, if you need assistance while you're figuring out, it's a phone call away or it's an email away. So I do want to stress that. Do not be afraid of the online application, because that stops us a lot from doing stuff that we need to do. And I also wanted to mention, because it wasn't mentioned, because it was one of my questions. In the classroom, this is not a standard size classroom.
Mm-hmm.
So when they were talking about things going on in the classroom at the same time, the classroom is in different sections. So I just wanted to share that, because that was one of my concerns as a parent. I was like, oh, she's gonna look over there, she's gonna want to do this, but it's not like that. And it's plenty of room and space, both intellectual space and physical space, for both teachers and the other things that are going on in the classroom. I wanted to make sure that other parents understood that.
Gotcha. Stephanie, can you expand on that a little bit more?
Yeah, so when we, because we're doing modulars for our first couple of years, and you get an opportunity to design the modular. And so we made our modular classrooms larger than your standard ISD classroom or maybe another charter school classroom. And we did that on purpose because we knew our students weren't going to be rotating from class to class, and they would be in that one room all day outside of PE and fine arts. And so we really wanted it to be a space in which they were not confined to one area of the classroom, but that they could move around to different spaces in the classroom to be able to learn. And so I can sit at my table if I want to. I can stand at a standing desk if I want to. I can go to the carpet area and do my work over there if I want to. I'm not confined to just my table.
Gotcha. That's awesome. I think we can all agree that after being quarantined at home, that space is great, space to move around in. This is all wonderful. I am just so grateful for you guys to be able to share this really wonderful info about this exciting school option. I want to just kind of reiterate the high points here, like the summary points, is that this is a new campus or a new school that is going into San Antonio for 5th, 6th, and 7th grade. But like you mentioned, Stephanie, it is going to be 5th grade through high school. So if your student goes to this school now for next fall, they can be there through 12th grade until they graduate. So that is such a wonderful thing for that, that stability and just that consistency in their education. And you can still apply. So you can go to saprep.org and you can call you guys. You can fill out an application online or over the phone. And I want to get this one last question in before we wrap up. Do you provide support to families who've been affected by COVID-19? So I'll add to this is that we've seen a lot of other schools that they've got, food pantries on site or things like that. So Stephanie, can you share what you guys are doing to help families right now with COVID?
Yes, that is an excellent question. I was actually going to ask you if I can chime in a little bit before we closed out. And so one of them is that we got a COVID-19 response relief grant. And so with that grant, we are going to be doing a little bit more than what we've been doing. So part of the supports is temporary housing. It's helping with groceries, food, clothing, PPE equipment. And so we have masks on hand already, and we're ordering gloves and hand sanitizer. And so right now we are putting dates on the calendar so that we can push those dates out to family on where we're going to be and then where they can show up and register to come pick up these items. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, and that's on actually, I disregard. It's not on our Facebook page just yet. We're creating the flyer for it, and as soon as we have it, I think it's going to be today. It'll be posted on our Facebook page. So come back to our page and also on our website. We should have that flyer posted of all of the support that we're giving, and then what days that support is going to be provided. And then the second thing was I think we're doing a virtual LEAP. We're partnering with Leap for SA, which is a nonprofit organization that does STEM or STEAM education. And so we were going to do an in-person week-long camp, but because of COVID-19, it's now moved to online camp. And so we will have more details for that with a flyer as well. We'll create a flyer that can easily be shared via text or social media for families to be able to register for that and participate in that over the summer.
Awesome. That is such great information. So what we'll do is at Families Empowered, we have a COVID-19 resources page. So you can always go there. We'll plug in this information that you guys have shared, Stephanie. We'll get all that updated info. But as you guys heard, you can also look at SA Prep's or San Antonio Prep's Facebook page, website, stay in the loop with their communications, and they will update you as well. So this is great. This is something we're so excited about. We're happy to have you guys here today. If you are watching this video and it's not the live version, you still have a question, feel free to log in. You can tag in San Antonio Prep. They can answer your question there. But we just thank you all so much. Miss Loretta, thank you so much. And for your student over there, did you have one more thing to say? Sorry.
Yes, I did, because I know she mentioned mirroring the Judson Independent School District calendar. I just wanted to make sure that if your child is Northeast or East, it's still really, really close. I'm literally across the highway from where I am, because I sit east of WW White Road. But I didn't want to get off the phone without saying that your SAISD student or your Northeast Independent School District needs to look into SA Prep. I just needed to make sure that I said that before I got off the phone, because a lot of things we do through social media, but a lot of things we do by phone calls. So if anyone needs to call me that knows me, I know my reach is pretty far, please get in touch with me so we can talk about the dynamics and the differences that this school is bringing to our community.
That's awesome. Stephanie, you've got a winner there. You just need to hire her on staff, and she can do recruiting for you. This is awesome. This is so great. Well, just thanks to you both. Thanks for your time today. And this is such a helpful resource for families. Since we can't get out of our homes right now, we can learn online. So thank you so much. And we're going to wrap up today, but we will be entering in anyone who put a comment, a question into our HEB gift card raffle, and we will pick a winner and announce on our Facebook page shortly. So thank you all. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Bye.